Welcome back, everyone. Today we're covering the Nautiloid for side quests, extras, bonus, so forth, and this is the tutorial of Baldur's Gate 3. So this will help you get through it as easy as possible, as well as just get you some additional experience. Here we have Marinath, who's at the top of this pathway towards our left, and as you saw on the map, this is the second room of the game. So once you go through that first door, be on the lookout for this. This will be towards your character's left when you enter there. And the staircase is in the back of the room as well. You can see how I panned over and just simply clicked up top there and allowed my character to travel there. Once you interact with Marinath, you'll go through a couple of short dialogue options, and I will edit some of this and other quests out just so that anything that is not absolutely needed will be shorter for you so that you can complete the quest and get back to playing the game, which is the reason we're here, right? After completing these dialogue options, you'll now get the choice to use different stats, and these stats are going to allow you to interact with the NPC in different manners, or the objective, whatever you may be doing in these dialogue options, and this will be consistent throughout the game. In my character's case, I have a strong dexterity, so I'm going to make use of the dexterity option to try and complete or advance this quest line. Successfully passing the skill check is going to allow you to continue on with this objective, whether the result be positive or negative, and the game proceeds fairly often in this manner, and there's really no requirement that you succeed in everything, let alone the majority of things. Your playthrough will be unique and different, so don't focus too hard on making sure that you succeed or pass all of these. These guys are intended just to show you what is possible. After successfully removing this brain, you now have two options again. You can mutilate the brain while it is fairly vulnerable, or you can just let go of it and allow it to come down. That is actually the better option here, because this brain will actually start to transform, sprout some legs, some talons, and will then become a follower. And a follower has the ability to act during combat just like a regular player, or even a companion. So this is very strong, especially early in the game. The extra body is very, very powerful. Do not underestimate this. If you're having any difficulty at all, I would suggest that you go and unlock this creature. The final dialogue scene's wrapping up. You'll see that you gain that follower, as I mentioned, and now you'll have two members to control during battle. Now your followers can equip items or have an inventory and so forth, and you'll see that it's placed next to the character that it is following. Real quick, you may also notice the ability to use the restoration during the tutorial. Make sure that you take advantage of this. If your character gets injured along the way, there's more than one of these during the tutorial, so keep an eye out. Since this is the guide for the tutorial, I wanted to include this section as well, and I'll be as brief as possible here. Make sure that you take advantage of the default Q and E key bindings, and this is going to allow you to rotate the camera. Often you'll have the ability to then see things that you might have seen before. As we continue to progress on, we'll later be faced in another circular room. Now there's two paths. We have the option to go in two different directions for the first time in the game at this point, and you'll notice that there's also somebody calling out to you, asking for help. This is actually a character called Shadowheart, and we have the ability to rescue them in the tutorial, adding another additional member to our party. Also want to mention while we're here that you want to be sure to pick up this Nautiloid tank if you plan on doing all of the extras in the tutorial as well. There's no advantage to interacting with the pod at this moment. Simply go into the next room here. This is the room towards the east. And at this point we can loot one corpse at the front of the room, as well as a corpse in the back of the room, which will have a rune that we're looking for to complete this side quest.
How many hosts of these gay infected?
Once you have the Eldritch Rune, return to that pod in the previous room. And next to the pod, there'll be a control panel of sorts that we can interact and use that rune. Placing the rune and then placing your hand on the console will allow this to progress. After some cutscenes and brief dialogue, you'll be tasked with another skill check, which has a very low requirement, but it is in fact possible to fail. Successfully passing this skill check will release Shadowheart from the imprisonment, Initiating dialogue with Shadowheart once they have released will allow you to complete this and add them to your party if you choose that option.
At last. I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin.
You'll also begin to see some of the exchanges between different companions and how that will add to the layers of the story as well.
I did. It must be because of those parasites they put in us. They'll have to wait. I need to get off this ship alive first.
With now 3 party members and 1 follower, we can head towards the helm and complete the tutorial.
We've wasted enough time already.
She's right. Lead on.
For the final extra or bonus within the Nautiloid, we have 2 options here. Now we can either kill Commander Zhalk, or we can use the spell Command, and this is accessible through Shadowheart. Simply hit the tab button, go into your spellbook, and make sure that you swap out 1 spell. In this case I've already done it, but you can simply swap off a spell and then select one that you like. The command spell here has the ability to cause a monster or a creature that you command to drop its weapon. Once the weapon has been dropped, we can pick up the weapon. In my playthrough, I personally chose to kill Commander Zhalk, utilizing some of the explosive tanks that we picked up along the way, as well as in this room, because he granted experience, so that was just my preference. Once you're in range of Commander Zhalk, utilize the command skill and the sub option to have him drop the weapon. You can then pick this up on any character. I choose to have Lae'zel pick it up just so that I could equip it and then bash on him using his own weapon. Here, you can defeat him for additional experience, or you can reach the control panel, whatever you prefer, and continue on with the game.
We must take the transponder.
The other option, as previously mentioned, is to position the Nautiloid tanks that you took from the previous room, as well as the 2 on the left side of this room with the encounter. Place them all in a position where you can blow up either Commander Zhalk or the combination of Commander Zhalk and the 2 Cambions that enter during the encounter. For this particular playthrough, I wasn't strong enough to take all 3 of them, so I just chose to blow up Commander Zhalk, get the loot, and move onward. And yes, I unfortunately blew up the follower Us as well. This is just part of the process. I was using Us to position it in such a manner that it would draw the aggro and keep it around the Nautiloid tanks for the explosion.
Let these intruders open! The furnace is ours!
Also worth mentioning, since again this is a tutorial video to help players get introduced that may not be familiar, interacting with your environment is absolutely massive in this game. Regardless of which difficulty you're playing on, this can definitely change the tides. And if you're playing on Tactician, it is almost mandatory to make use and take advantage of a lot of these situations. So get familiar with this, experiment, and so forth. Do everything you can to give yourself better chances. This game is all about succeeding or failing, and in different ways, and how that affects your story and the development of your characters and the story around it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Have a great day.